Not. Kemarin berarti sampai oh, ngomong sama dia ya, Miss. Aduh, lupa lagi namanya. Siapa namanya dia? Mrs. Hubert. Bagus banget namanya. Nah, ini apa ya? Kemarin nggak bisa anjing. Oh ya, emang nggak bisa ya? Toiletry.
Let's see if Mrs. Hubbard was telling the truth about the latch of the connecting door.
Diapain ya?
This hook is probably where Mrs. Hubbard hung her toiletry bag. I can see the latch very well from here, even with the toiletry bag attached. I'll have to clear that up with Mrs. Hubbard.
Replay. Dia telling the truth nggak? Wah, lupa lagi kemarin.
Mrs. Hubbard, you told me that the door connecting the two compartments was closed, correct?
Yes, it was, as I told you. I was already in bed and my toiletry bag was hanging on the hook of the door. I couldn't see the latch from where I was. That's why I asked Miss Olsen to check if it was closed.
Yes, it was as I told you. I was already in bed. My toiletry bag was hanging on the hook of the door. Ini deh.
Are you sure everything you've told me is accurate, Madame Hubbard?
Of course. I have an excellent memory.
Mrs. Hubbard, I tested putting your toiletry bag on the door hook as you told me. From your bed, you can easily see the latch on the door. The toiletry bag does not hide the latch at all.
Are you saying I'm lying? It may have been stuck somehow in a different position, or I may not have seen it in the darkness. Or I didn't think to look, you irritating man.
Details matter, madame. A man has been most savagely murdered. You will excuse me if I attempt to separate the truth from the false.
Forget my toiletry bag and focus on who entered my compartment. Probably after killing Mr. Ratchet.
Madame Hubbard is a force to be reckoned with, but I suspect I'm not done with her. Thank you for your assistance, madame.
Sekarang biar misal berarti ya.
Monsieur Michel, I must ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
I will do everything I can to help.
First of all, tell me about yourself.
Very well. My name, as you know, is Pierre Michel. I am from Calais. I've been with the company for over 15 years.
Thank you.
Gak denger lagi.
Monsieur Michel, I must ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
I will do everything I can to help.
First of all, tell me about yourself.
Very well. My name, as you know, is Pierre Michel. I am from Calais. I've been with the company for over 15 years.
Thank you. I must admit I'm not right. This is wrong. But I do not think that...
Ah, 57 usianya.
Et voilà.
Voila. Missing
I
button?
found a button from an Orient Express staff jacket. Did you lose one by any chance?
No, monsieur. As you can see, I have all my buttons. It is not mine.
What is the last station where we stopped?
Vinkovsky.
Could someone have come on board?
Possibly. I was very busy. Owing to the weather, we were a few minutes late. We left at 12:10 a.m.
Where were
Kehadiran
you
lu
at 1:15
di jam segitu?
a.m.?
I was sitting on my little seat at the end of the car, facing up the corridor.
Are you sure?
I left a little after 1 a.m. to speak about the snow with my colleague Jean in the bar car. I came back later. There was a call. I remember speaking to you.
Indeed, I remember. Carry on.
It was the American lady, Madame Hubbard. She thought she saw a man in her compartment. Then, around 1:50 a.m., I made the bed for Monsieur Ratchet's secretary, Monsieur McQueen. He had spent the evening talking with the English Captain Arbuthnot. At 2 a.m., I returned to my place and stayed there until dawn.
I would like to reconstruct with your help the events of last night. Monsieur Ratchet retired to bed. When?
Almost immediately after dinner, sir. Actually, before we left Belgrade.
Did anybody go into his compartment after that?
His valet, monsieur. Monsieur Masterman. And then his secretary, the young American gentleman, Monsieur McQueen.
And that is the last time you saw or heard of him?
No, monsieur. You forget that Monsieur Ratchet rang his bell around 12:40 a.m., soon after we had stopped. I knocked at the door, but he called out in French, "Ce n'est rien, je me suis trompé." I then left to answer another bell that had just rung.
Okay.
Are you a smoker?
Indeed.
Do you smoke e-cigarettes?
No. Tobacco only.
Terus kenapa dia nanya smoker?
Can you provide me with a listing of the passengers and their rooms, please?
Yes, certainly.
Itu siapa Konstantin ya? Nama kita siapa sih? Poirot. Nggak ada anjing. Midnight 2 pagi. Damn.
That's the right answer.
Voila.
While Monsieur Michel was chatting with Monsieur Fauchet in the bar car between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., the murderer could have escaped Ratchet's room without being seen. That was easy.
Anjir, panjang banget ini. Enggak deh kayaknya. No.
This is the most likely answer.
No.
According to the information I have, This is a solid choice.
Nah, karena pembunuhan terjadi di jam 1:15.
So, Poirot, I hope you are progressing in your investigation.
I have not finished yet, but it is progressing, yes. I still have many questions that must be answered. I'll report to you as soon as I can.
Ininya mana? Si McQueen. Itu bukan ya? Bukan McQueen itu ya?
I believe I am addressing Monsieur Hector McQueen.
Guilty as charged.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, sorry. Just an expression. My father used to say it.
You must have had an interesting childhood. I am Hercule Poirot.
No need to be modest. You're a detective.
You are Monsieur Ratchet's secretary?
I am Mr. Ratchet's secretary. Just over a year. I mainly take care of translating certain texts for him. Mr. Ratchet only speaks English.
Prepare yourself for a shock. Your employer, Monsieur Ratchet, is dead.
So they got him after all.
What do you mean? You are assuming he was murdered?
I know he had enemies.
Are you a smoker?
Yes, I smoke cigarettes. I've tried to quit, but no luck.
I found a diary in Monsieur Ratchet's safe. Did you know about it?
I kept a business appointment book, but I know he had a personal diary as well. That looks like it.
Can you tell me your movements last night?
I went back to my compartment. I read a little. In Belgrade, I went out onto the platform to smoke, but it was cold. I quickly went back in. I then went to Mr. Ratchet's compartment to take some dictation for him. I left around 10 o'clock. I saw Captain Arbuthnot. We ended up chatting in my compartment. Then we went out on the platform to quickly stretch our legs at Vinkovsky. He left around 2 o'clock.
Thank you. I will need to check Monsieur McQueen's story with Captain Arbuthnot. What can you tell me about Monsieur Ratchet?
He was American. He was an antiques dealer. I don't know much more. Mr. Ratchet never talked about himself or his life, but I think Ratchet wasn't his real name, and he left the United States to run away from something, or someone.
Yes?
He started getting letters, threatening letters.
Do you still have them?
I have one.
Did you know that Monsieur Ratchet had asked for my help?
Asked you? No, I didn't know.
He knew he was in danger. When did you last see him?
Last night around 10 o'clock, I should say.
Did you like your employer, Monsieur McQueen?
No, I did not. He was, I'm sure, a cruel and dangerous man.
Was Monsieur Ratchet a smoker?
No, he hated the smell of smoke.
Can you give me this letter, please?
Of course, here it is.
Time to die. Baliknya nggak ada. Gitu doang anjing. Itu bisa ditulis siapa aja nggak sih?
This is wrong, but I'm never far from the truth.
Oh iya ya. Oh iya,
The
betul.
murderer may have impersonated Ratchet by calling Monsieur Michel to make it seem that Ratchet was still alive at 12:37 a.m. My little gray cells did not let me down.
Voila. Satu nomor siapa ya? Joanna Locke. Smith. Ini siapa ya, Masterman?
Monsieur Edward Masterman, I believe. May I ask you some questions?
I can barely talk. I have a terrible toothache.
We have a doctor on board the train. Perhaps
I do not need a doctor. I use essential oils. If you can find my flask of clove oil in my box, I would be grateful.
fine, if you insist. I will help you.
Penting banget, penting banget.
By the smell, I think that the jojoba oil spilled on the other bottles, leaving their labels illegible. I must find another
iya.
way to find which one is Masterman's toothache remedy. The weighing scale is soaked in jojoba oil. It's unusable. Ah, this old scale will do the job. To start, I must first arrange the vials from the lightest to the heaviest.
Oke, berarti ini lebih enteng ya. Sorry, ini lebih berat. Ini lebih berat. Ini lebih berat. Ini lebih berat. Pertama. Ini lebih berat. Ini lebih berat.
Now that I know the order, I think that I can easily guess which one is the clove oil.
Kan ada yang hilang anjing.
Here is Monsieur Masterman's remedy. Here is your remedy. I hope it will help.
Thank you very much, sir. Ah, well, I can finally speak without too much pain. I'm ready to answer your questions.
You are Monsieur Ratchet's valet?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Were you told that your employer was murdered?
Yes, sir. A very shocking occurrence.
Kok nggak kaget gitu ya?
That was easy. Was Monsieur Ratchet a smoker?
No, he finds smokers disgusting.
Udahlah, besok lagi ya.